There's a couple of changes to the agenda, but we'll get to that bit in a minute. There's a couple more bits of housekeeping and rivalries, so and so on and so. Also in your daddy bags, with the other 14 items in there, I'm not going to name more. There's a leaflet in there about our 10-year anniversary journey. Have a look at the videos, have a look at some of the stuff there, do it on the way home, do it after. I've just been given the most amazing present. As when we were dishing out the awards, someone says, God, you've got Down syndrome like Bez.
Bez is back! Come on! Bez is back! Yes! Right then, look for me. Over to you, Maura. Go on.
Just tap to the folly, that's that. Just to be able to follow over this morning, we've put a few props on the stage, just to give me a second chance at it. Change to the running order, and this speaker / performer is somebody I know very well and somebody that supports my journey and Julius's journey, and I'm very, very grateful for him being a part of that. Not only is he a volunteer and mentor for young people of our city, he's also a talented performer, an artist. I'm not following this at all. He says he's a lived experience practitioner, community volunteer and music artist dedicated to empowering young people and amplify unheard voices. And he's the reason we've got a sofa on the stage, which is never part of the running order, and we've accommodated. So Commonwealth Pump Stormzy, I mean, it's me. I mean, Akeem sang his school so many people. Happy Battles, exactly like the calls for the Bible.
Funny thing is, guys, at one stage everyone kept calling me Stormzy, saying I look like Stormzy, so my dog is actually called Stormzy. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My full name is Akeem George Simeon Thames. I was born at the Royal Stoke Hospital on the 4th of August 1989. Growing up in the house was my mum, Janet. Sat there. Wait, mum. My stepdad, Sav, who's no longer with us, R.I.P. My little brother, Ishmael, and my older sister, Kalisha. We was a God-fearing family. We liked to attend church on a weekly basis, sometimes two to three times a week, either Bible studies, choir practice, etc. What I didn't realise at that young age is that my family was trying to not only pass on their religious beliefs to me, but also give me the tools and morals to go on and live my life by. But for some reason, I couldn't see what they was trying to do. Maybe it was because they almost had to force me to come sometimes, because I'd much rather to have been out playing with my friends. These are the kind of scenarios that can happen in the family home. These are the kind of things that can cause arguments within the household. They can cause divide, they can cause animosity between us. So it's exactly that happened. So for a very long period, me and my stepdad never used to get on. All I remember is that when my mum used to go to work, he'd call me downstairs to give me a good telling off and sometimes take things too far. By the time I was 14 to 15, I was waiting to leave the house. I was wanting to leave the house, sorry, and go back to my grandma's. I used to love being at my grandma's for many different reasons, mainly because I could be myself and I could do what I wanted to a certain extent. From a young age, I used to play football, from playing for the city team, playing for a local team called Brookhouse Bombers, to working my way up to playing for Port Vale School of Excellence. I played for Port Vale for many years. I went to tournaments all around the country, sometimes even abroad to France, of which I got player of the tournament. And this was a big achievement for me, as there was many very good players on my team at the time. I was at Port Vale for that long. I treated the place like home. I never seen myself leaving anytime soon. So it was a complete and utter shock when I got released from the club for having a laugh with a friend of mine that I got a trial for. They came to me out of the blue one time at training and called me into the office and said they're sorry, but we're going to have to let you go. I was devastated. My whole world come crashing down with a few words. I thought in that moment, and remember, at that age, you still don't know how to deal with your emotions properly. I truly believe that this played a big part in the way I carried myself after this moment. This is where I needed my father to say, "Don't worry, son, it will be okay. We can try another cut," but I never had that. And because I see Port Vale as my stomping ground, I didn't know where to turn next. It was around that period where I was getting myself into a lot of mither. Back to school, I was hanging around with the local lads, going to Festival Park, causing chaos. I started to head down the wrong path. So it was only a matter of time before I ended up taking a trip to Her Majesty's prison. So in the end, that's where I ended up, paying a trip to the Her Majesty's prison. The first prison I've ever went to was HMP Hallfield in Bristol. I ended up getting locked up for a kidnap, of which I had nothing to do with. The reason why I ended up getting locked up was because my cousin had asked me to come and visit his newborn child. It was whilst visiting my cousin's newborn, I ended up getting roped into it. At the time I was only 17 years old. And imagine, I'm getting taken to a man's prison. Luckily for me at the time, I was with my cousin and his friend. At this point, I had so many thoughts going round and round in my head. How have I ended up here? How long am I going to have to do? What is my mum and grandma going to say about this? I ended up getting shipped to Brinsford in Wolverhampton on my own. So now I'm thinking to myself, what's going to happen now? I knew that it wasn't going to be so plain sailing, as HMP Bristol was, let's just say, I had to get my hands dirty. I'd done 6 months in there. It was the jungle, full of gangbangers, etc. But I've got something to prove. I'd done 6 months, and then I ended up getting bail while I was on a visit with my nan. It was the weirdest experience ever. I never thought that when I went on the visit with my nan that I'd be going back home with her. All the way home, my grandma and her best friend was giving me a lecture, saying things like, "You don't want to be going back to them places. You have to fix up and move different now. Sort yourself out." The mad thing is, all I was thinking about was going to see the lads when I got back. When really, I should have been keeping myself to myself and try and make something of myself. But for some reason, I was addicted to the fast life. What was it that made me think that way? Was it just the fact that I wanted to live like this? Was I searching for something that was missing? E.g. love, father figure. What was I searching for? So now, that's a bit about my young years. Let's fast forward to my late teens. By now, I was chilling with the big boys. I stepped up, let's call it, a progression to a bigger and more respected group in the area. Is this what I was looking for all the time? A sense of belonging to something that I could say I'm a part of. Maybe it was the fancy cars and chains that impressed me. Is that what I thought my life could look like one day? When you're a young man and you don't know how to be emotionally intelligent, I didn't know how to just keep myself to myself and not get caught up into all sorts of madness. Once I got involved with, say to speak, the big boys, this is where things took a turn for the worst. Before you knew it, I was involved in dealing, fighting, you name it, whatever was needed, I was there. Oblivious to the fact that when things take a turn for the worst, like going to prison, who's really there for you emotionally, financially? You can have 30 friends outside and still struggle in yourself. How is this possible if we're meant to be a brotherhood? Why is it that when one of the so-called crew members gets locked up for some reason, they almost get forgotten about? I got locked up many a times and I had many friends and associates, but for some reason, after all the work that I put in for all my friends, the respect that I had earned, how am I having to sometimes struggle? If it wasn't for my close family, I would have had a real tough time. Maybe some weeks I would have had no canteen, no credit to make calls. Sometimes I had to find things that would take the stress away, e.g. smoking synthetic substances like spice. These are coping mechanisms for the stress that I was feeling at the time. For many years, I was trapped in a cycle, in and out of jail, getting back out to run around and get involved in everybody else's problems. And then guess what? It was me who was at the forefront of it all. Why is it that even being a young adult, I still couldn't see the red flags right in my face? I still show loyalty to people who wasn't as loyal to me. So let's fast forward to 2019. I get released from doing 5 years behind the door for Section 18. When I was released, I was given a gift of money by one of my friends whose trouble it was that I was involved in, that got me sentenced. After doing 5 years, tell me how much money I was handing into my hands. £500. That's £100 per year. Listen, I don't care what anybody says. If your so-called friend knows how long you've just spent behind the door and they hand you £500, in that moment I thought, what am I really doing this for? All that for £100 a year? How on God's planning is that even worth it? All I was thinking was, what a waste of time that is. It was at that moment everything changed mentally. I had enough of living my life on the edge for people who don't value my freedom when they aren't short of a few bob. So then I thought, this is where I need to make some sort of change positively in my life. That's when I asked a friend if he could get me a job, somewhere to give me some purpose, some direction, something that will keep me on the right path and not end up going down the wrong road again. Thank God for my friend Dave, who gave me a chance. He gave me a job, a house, and structure in my life. This was life-changing. Once I took the step to do something positive, doors started to open for me. I ended up getting introduced to the law of attraction by my best friend. And it was through law of attraction that I ended up writing songs. I won't go into details of how, because I'll save that for another day, but I'm sure you'll hear about them soon. So now fast forward, I'm writing songs, and at this point, I couldn't believe what I was doing. Me and how I live my life, I never thought that this is something that I'd be doing. But at the same time, I was thinking this was God's plan all along. But because I wasn't living my life a certain way, I was never going to discover it. The reason why I asked why I ended up discovering it was I meant to be doing this. So the reason why I ended up discovering it was I meant to be doing this because I was working, keeping my head down. I wasn't living the fast life, because if I was, I would have never stumbled across the signs that I was seeing. I've now been writing songs for the past 5 years. Let's just say it's been quite some journey. From being inside and having to write on the back of envelopes with no pen, just the ink cartridge to write with. From having writing blocks for 3 months and having to think of new ways of how to get some inspiration to write. Like having to buy a keyboard from Argos catalogue inside and simply playing melodies to be able to catch on to. Something I tried, all. Why? Because I knew that God had given me a gift. So I knew I had to try my best to make things happen. Now I want to rewind back to last year, around the same time as we're having the forum today. I was invited to last year's forum by a good friend of mine, Darren. He asked me if I would come and do a speech and some music for him, of which I gladly agreed. At this time, I only had 2 weeks left on my license. But on my license conditions, I wasn't allowed to go into Charlton. So I had to ask my probation officer if he would allow me to go. Me thinking that I've only got 2 weeks left on my license, that they obviously would let me go. Maybe that was me being naive, maybe a bit of wishful thinking. I was only thinking this way because I thought to myself that what more could probation want from me? I'm getting an opportunity to share my story in a positive way. Surely they wouldn't say that I couldn't do it. Well, that was the case. After a week of waiting for a decision, my probation officer sadly told me that I couldn't go. This was a moment when I was really cheesed off with the system. I was thinking that why is it that when you're trying to do something positive, probation ain't coming backing you up? Maybe they just like to keep you down. Maybe they just want to keep you in the system. They just don't want to let you go. So let's just say I called my probation officer and very kindly gave him a piece of my mind on the situation. These are moments that I had to keep my chin on and don't let it get me down. It made me think, well, why am I trying to change? Why am I not receiving any support from the people who are paid to try and rehabilitate? Another significant moment that happened in my life was when I was in HMP Stokey for 2021 and my grandma died. I was told that I would have to prove that my grandma was my guardian, as they've changed it now in the prison system, that you can only go to your immediate family members' funerals, e.g. brother, sister, mother or father, which I think is disgraceful. So then I had to prove to that my grandma was my guardian for many years. She was on my birth certificate, my passport, my doctors, everything. The chaplain in the jail at the time said to me that there's no chance that they could say no to you, with all the evidence that I provided. All I can remember is one day I was on the landing on association and the officers called me into the office. When I seen how many officers in the office at that point, I knew what the answer was already. They was getting ready for me to kick off after the bad news. At this moment, I had so many thoughts going through my head. I was thinking, forget all of this. They're taking the mick by not letting me go. So it was in this moment I thought to myself, what would my grandma want me to do in this situation? Forget about my ego and how I'd normally deal with things. Because let's just say, if I chose to deal with it my own way, I wouldn't be stood in front of you right now. So I thought, what would she say to me? She'd say, Akeem, don't do nothing stupid. God has given you a gift, now go and use it. So that's what I did. I put all my pain into my songs because I knew this way I wouldn't get into trouble. And two, I'm still on track for getting released. So I'm still able to go and make something of myself. So it's moments like these, being able to share parts of my story in front of people, that I truly feel proud of myself because I know what it has to for me to be here today. So now I'd like to take this opportunity to thank a few people. First, I'd like to thank Darren from Expert Citizens for being a big support of mine, from co-funding my music video with me, from giving me opportunities like today to share my story. So I'm sure we'll be doing some more collaborations going forward. I'd also like to thank my family, especially my mother, for being there when I was inside, from countless visits all over the country, from picking up the phone every time I called. She was truly a big support for me. I'd like to thank Ollie and Kelvin for assisting me today with some live music, and this will be the first time using live instruments whilst I sing, so I'd all count yourselves lucky. I'm only joking. So this first song I wrote about 10 months ago when I was sat at home on my sofa. I was flicking through acoustic beats on YouTube and I came across this beat and I instantly started to write over it. The song's inspiration comes from being inside for so many years and not feeling like I was being looked after, though I felt I should have been, so I hope you like it. As I sit and watch the telly on my sofa, and I think of all the time I spent alone. All the phone calls, no one picking up, all those letters, no one writing back. No way I can go back to that. Life was so harder. Life is much better now. No way I can go back to that. Spending time on your own can be such a lonely place, but only if you let it be. But only if you let it be. I think the time out for me was good. It gave me time to see what was really going on. I think the time out for me was good. It gave me time to see what was really going on. So much confusion, too much comparison. That life's an illusion. That life's an illusion. So much confusion, too much comparison. That life's an illusion. That life's as I sit and watch the telly on my sofa, and I think of all the time I spent alone. Holding phone calls, no one picking up all those letters, no one writing back. No way I can go back to that. Life was so harder. Life is much better now. No way I can go back to that. So if you could see how far I've come in this journey on, writing songs, some wouldn't believe it. They thought I'd be dead and gone. You couldn't have been so wrong. Now please take the time to listen to my song. Now please take the time to listen to my song. 'Cause I ain't nowhere near finished yet. As I sit and watch the telly on my sofa, and I think of all the time I spent alone. All the phone calls, no one picking up all those letters, no one writing back. No way I can go back to bed. Life was so harder. Life is much better now. No way I can go back to bed. As I sit and watch the telly on my sofa, and I think of all the time I spent alone. All the phone calls, no one picking up all those letters, no one writing back. No way I can go back to that. Life is so harder. Life is much better now. No way I can go back to that. No way I can go back to that. No way I can go back to that.
Yours? Oh yeah. Cheers.
This next song we called Praise God. I wrote this song, I think it was a Sunday morning. I was feeling quite spiritual. So I went on YouTube and typed in gospel type beats. And this was the first beat that come up. So yeah, I hope you like it. If you've come to praise God, then get on your feet and clap your hands, 'cause He is worthy of our praise. 'Cause He is worthy of our praise. And 'cause it's off 9 in the morning, and I didn't know that I was gonna write a song this morning. And I didn't know that I was gonna write a song this morning. Was gonna write a song this morning. The day that Jesus died was the day that we got saved. Saved from all the sins that we would go on and commit. Not one time, not 2 times, maybe 3 times. Not one time, not 2 times, maybe 3 times. I could tell you a time when I prayed to God and I said, God, please release me from this place. I can tell you a time when I prayed to God and I said, God, please release me from this place. If you've come to praise God, then get on your feet and clap your hands, 'cause He is worthy of our praise. 'Cause He is worthy of our praise. And 'cause it's half 9 in the morning, and I didn't know that I was gonna write a song this morning. And I didn't know that I was gonna write a song this morning. Was gonna write a song this morning. And just to let you know, God answered my prayers. God said, how many chances do you want? How many chances do you want? One more time for one more crime. And God, you're still there. You could have gone a long time ago, so it shows you still care. One more line, that's all I did. One more line, that's all I did. If you've come to praise God, then get on your feet and clap your hands, 'cause He is worthy of our praise. 'Cause He is worthy of our praise. And 'cause it's off 9 in the morning, and I didn't know that I was gonna write a song this morning. And I didn't know that I was gonna write a song this morning. Was gonna write a song this morning. Not 1 time, not 2 times, maybe 3 times. Not 1 time, not 2 times, maybe 3 times. I can tell you a time when I prayed to God and I said, God, please release me from this place. I can tell you a time when I prayed to God and I said, God, please release me from this place.
Back on. One more time, guys. I think we should get it up for Breezy Thames. Thank you, Dean. I am in conclude here, but I think if I can speak for a second, or Darren dries his eye, mate. I've not seen upset for Darren in 5 years, or there's 10 years, so that was moving, but I was part of Akeem's journey and he should have been here last week and his last year, sorry, and his picture was on the screen like that, and I think it's testament to what a community and support and good people and expert citizens can do, because if there was ever a time he was going to lose his head and reoffend. And I remember I came in the morning to the expert citizens and I went and I saw Akeem later in the afternoon, and like his mood was really low, and to think our first speaker, Surfing Sofas, he spoke about system change, and if you can understand the impact that had, that Akeem had this opportunity a year ago, and the probation officer made that decision because this building was just within a metres of his exclusion zone within 2 weeks. And anybody that's been involved in the criminal justice system will know that sometimes it just doesn't seem fair. But anyway, testament is here, he's doing some great work. He's on a journey with Ulysses, he's on a journey with Expert Citizen. And actually, guys, if I had a bit more time, I'd tell you all about our Born to Perform project, where we've got 6 aspiring young musicians. And there's a lady right in the middle of the room, Tanika Brown, whose son's a part of it, and she's co-facilitating that project, and Akeem's leader on it, and it's 3 weeks in, it's absolutely phenomenal. And what a journey to go from his experience as a child with a great family, and moved here too, through all that trouble and strife and all those system challenges, to now be mentoring young people and making a difference in their lives. That I think, for me, that's astounding. We're found now with